to make sure that you guys are heading back into Christmas in a healthy kind of way, or how are we doing? So I know that a lot of my patients are having a hard time with sugar after Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is just all about carbs and sugar and celebrating and pies and candies and all the cookies and all those types of things. So sometimes that can trigger autoimmunity. Sometimes it can trigger joint pain. Sometimes it can make you super tired. And I'm wondering, have any of you guys jumped on the CGM train, the continuous glucose monitor train? There's a couple of them that are out right now that have been really helpful. Stello and Lingo have been really good at helping people figure out like what's going on with their blood sugar. So any of you having some issues with that? I know that some of my patients are really struggle between, Thanksgiving and New Year, right? With the food and feeling kind of a little bit not so healthy and trying to get back on track in January. So trying to give you guys some support around what you can do from here till January to kind of like not tank yourself, right? So I deal with a lot of patients that have autoimmunity and a lot of exhaustion and brain fog. So I don't know how many of y'all are having some brain fog or having some exhaustion or feeling just like you're not quite right and you're not quite sure how to get your feet back underneath you. So I get that a lot in my office right now. I've had a lot of patients coming in with their lab work that shows a lot of inflammation markers. So do you guys have any inflammation markers that are coming up? And trying to get to the bottom of why do you have inflammation markers and what's actually happening, right? So a lot of my patients will be dealing with blood sugar issues that are driving their inflammation markers. So blood sugar that's spiking, blood sugar that's crashing, prediabetes, diabetes, all that type of stuff. And that feels like the biggest driver that I'm seeing with high CRP. But also, this is the time where people are getting COVID and the flu and they're getting RSV. So those are big areas where people are coming in exhausted, they have brain fog, they just don't feel right, and they're not quite sure what they have. I have a fair amount of people who've gotten RSV in the last week, and that's been really interesting because it's creating a lot of inflammation and it winds up being triggering like an asthma-like response for people for quite some time. So you get sick and then you just have this cough that lasts for weeks. So I don't know if any of you are experiencing that. But I specialize in autoimmunity. I do see a fair amount of just brain fog and chronic fatigue in my office, trying to figure out if it's autoimmunity, what the core problem is. I'll do big swaths of blood work, just trying to figure out what the heck is going on with people. We'll look at, I don't know if you guys have seen that there's now Stanford has come out with this Epstein-Barr virus could be the trigger for lupus, which is very validating for all of us that do a lot of this work, because we see a lot of people that can't quite get those viruses under control. So the viruses are like, your immune system is supposed to be getting exposed to this virus and handling it. And it almost like puts it in the basement and closes the door, right? It's still there. It lives there, but our immune system really has to keep it at bay, right? It has to keep it down. So what happens when you go through a really stressful experience, when you aren't eating right, when you aren't sleeping, and then all of a sudden that virus reactivates and it feels like that's something that comes up and then winds up taking over. And then you wind up feeling super exhausted, and you might feel a little bit fluey or a little bit like you might have it almost feels like when I had mono when I was in high school. A lot of people, 95% of people have been exposed to Epstein-Barr. Doesn't mean that all of us continue to have it active in our body. But what happens with Epstein-Barr is you can kind of put it into dormancy. And then when you get run down, it can come back and reactivate. So what's tricky about the blood work is that I have people that say, I have Epstein-Barr markers, and it's an IgG marker, which says you've been exposed. But what you want to do is you want to actually see if your doctor can run like an IgM M means it's current, it's active, it's happening right now. Or they can kind of have, there's like sort of like the reactivation markers that you can run. So if you feel like you have chronic exhaustion, chronic fatigue, you don't feel good, maybe you have autoimmunity, maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't been tested. Do you know if you have autoimmune markers? Because a lot of my patients have never been tested. So what I'll tend to run is I'll tend to run ANA markers. I'll run an ANA cascade, which is a deeper dive into, is your immune system attacking you at all, any of your tissues? It's a really nice net to throw out to kind of see if you could catch any fish there. I do like to run Hashimoto's markers, which is always nice to know if you have that, especially if you have low thyroid. I'd like you to run thyroglobulin antibodies and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. Those are really important to know. Sometimes people will come in like with swollen joints or their joints are a little bit red. Then I want to run rheumatoid arthritis markers. Another one that's called anti-CCP, really helpful with diagnosing rheumatoid arthritis. So those are kind of my top three that I'll just run just to see if they're positive, right? If they're positive, then we want to figure out why. Looking at the rest of the blood work, I want to figure out what else is going wrong. Like what caused your body to kind of tip into autoimmunity? I mean, a big question is, do you have family members that have autoimmunity? Do you have a mom or a grandma or an aunt that has maybe lupus or had really swollen knuckles, or maybe their fingers were kind of a little bit deformed? That's rheumatoid arthritis. Or you can have a swollen knuckle even here. And those are things you want to find out from your history if you can. What's interesting is a lot of my patients will come in and say, well, my mom and my grandma, everybody has low thyroid. Okay, so 80% of people with low thyroid actually have Hashimoto's. They've just never been tested. So when you have Hashimoto's, it just means that your thyroid is being destroyed by your own immune system. So we have to figure out how to get the immune system to like chill out. Like, why is your immune system overacting, right? So here's some things I know. If you don't have enough vitamin D, your immune system can get overactive. So let's get on 5,000 IUs of vitamin D every day, okay? I find that people's blood sugars are spiking too much, right? Prediabetes, or they often will go spike and crash and then spike and crash. So that's the most likely scenario happening. So if you have blood sugar issues, that can really make you tired. So somebody has any advice for hemochromatosis? Okay, my husband has hemochromatosis, so I have a lot of advice on this one. So your iron levels are high saturation, normal ferritin. You need to go donate blood. And here's the thing. If you go tell your blood donation person that you have hemochromatosis and it's therapeutic, they will charge you. Just go donate blood. Don't say anything. It's amazing blood. It's full of iron and amazing. They should give you extra credit. They should pay you for your blood. Really like full of good iron. So go donate some blood, and I would donate blood once a month. Just like really get it out, because that's the only way you can really get the iron out. Okay, so make sure that you're not using cast iron pans, because that can be an extra iron. Make sure that none of your supplements or vitamins or your multivitamin has any iron in it. Okay, so but just donate blood on the regular. So that's going to be okay. You donate. Oh, I can't donate at a donation system. I'm under. Oh, got it. Okay, so wow, that's tricky, isn't it? Your doctor won't order phlebotomy. Okay, so you know what? I would go to another donation center. I would just push into this, because you got to get rid of that iron. And the only way you can get rid of it is to donate blood. So I would go to another one and just really get pushy. Just be like, I really want to donate blood. Sometimes you can go, like, there's a corporation that they have like a blood donation like day or something like that. Go someplace different. Just try to get somebody else to do it, because you've got to donate blood. So your hands are always feel like pins and needles, and you take thyroid meds. Okay. Tingling in the hands. So is it at the tips of your fingers, or is it your whole hand? Tell me what you got. And do you have prediabetes or diabetes? I'd love to know. Best way to stabilize insulin resistance. Okay, you know the best way? Fasting. Doing some fasting. Can you do a little bit of intermittent fasting? Like fasting, having a lunch and then having a dinner, and making it very protein heavy. Protein and veggies. Really be careful with your carbs. What I would do is I would get a continuous glucose monitor that you pop on the back of your arm from Lingo or Stello. Those guys are selling them for like $48 a piece. You can get 2 for $100. Amazing. Just watch what's spiking your blood sugar and start changing your meals. And if you eat a meal and it's spiking your blood sugar, we got to change that meal a little bit. So you want to think about eating veggies first in your meal, and then eat meat, chicken, turkey, ground beef, shrimp, fish, I don't care. Some fat, so maybe some butter if you can tolerate that, maybe some olive oil, olives, avocado, whatever. And then if you want to do a little bit of carbs, do a little bit of carbs. Be careful. That can spike your blood sugar. If you want to take a step further, you could go into the ketogenic diet. Go on a ketogenic, get on ChatGPT and go, give me a ketogenic diet meal plan for a week. Give me a 7-day meal plan. That would be great, because you can teach your body how to burn ketones as fuel and not glucose as fuel. You can run on ketones just as easily as you can run on glucose. But the minute that you eat sugar or carbs, it pulls you out of ketosis. So ketogenic diet, a little bit of intermittent fasting, really protein forward meals with some veggies and some fats, and be really careful about your carbs. So you can either keep the carbs in and keep them light, or pull the carbs out and go full keto. Either way, I do a little bit of intermittent fasting as well. And watch your blood sugar, right? Because if you're a blood sugar crasher, you want to be careful and not fast for too long, right? We don't need to crash out your blood sugar, but we do need to kind of get your blood sugar down a little bit, because your blood sugar is spiking too much. So we're having a little bit too many carbs, or a little too much spiking. I tell you, I ran put a blood sugar monitor on myself, and I was shocked at how much I was spiking my blood sugar. Like, what? I didn't believe that like just eating like a literal sandwich with meat on it, spiking my blood sugar. I mean, I'm 55, so I'm in menopause, and my blood sugar spikes like crazy. Now, my daughter was eating the same exact meal, and we both had blood sugar monitors on. She's 26. Hers went to 125. Mine went to 185. So let me tell you, when you get into menopause, your body's really different. Your body just changes. It's not the same body as you were when you're 26. I'll tell you that. Okay. So do chiropractic adjustments improve health? That's really interesting. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not really sure. Actually, it's been taught that they do, but I don't really actually know. Isn't that funny? I mean, there's a lot of things that we kind of just hear about, we kind of go along with, but I don't know that there's been any actual double-blinded studies on it. So tips of fingers, and yes, insulin, diabetes, it's only the last 3 fingers on one hand. Okay, so what are we doing about insulin and diabetes? Are you type 1 diabetic or type 2 diabetic? Because I'd love for you to think about shifting into maybe a ketogenic diet for a little while, so that you can get your body to maybe we can take a little break on glucose, and maybe we can get your insulin down and your blood sugar down. At least are you wearing a blood sugar monitor? That when you have too much sugar, it can damage the blood vessels at the ends of your fingers and toes. And so I don't want you to be getting more damage and getting more numbness on your toes and a little bit higher up in your hand. Okay. Oh, type 2. So yeah. So let's think about, gosh, I have a nutritionist in my office who's really good at this. If you want some, to connect up with somebody to help you figure this out, because sometimes you need just a little guidance on how to figure this out and how to start. Let me know, DM me, and I can give you her contact. Her name is Lisa Cross. She's amazing. So there's that, but, and you're wearing a monitor. So I want your monitor to kind of be rolling, right? And I want you to but you might be sitting a little high. So you might want to work a little bit on some intermittent fasting. You might want to get a little bit more on a ketogenic diet to get your blood sugar down a little bit. We have to kind of change the game, right? We kind of can't keep bringing in carbs the way that we have been, because it's not working. So that when you spike your blood sugar, you spike your insulin and you spike inflammation. Okay. So when your inflammation can go high, and then your blood sugar's high and your insulin's high. And you know what's wild about insulin? When the insulin spikes, it turns on a little 3D printer on our belly, and it just starts adding fat on our belly. So you lost 80 pounds. That's so good. Oh, that's great. Okay. So yeah. So just keep going, right? Keep going. Now, the other things you could think about is if you're losing weight and you're figuring out your blood sugar and you're doing better, then you want to think about what am I going to do to help these nerves, right? To kind of recover a little bit. Things you can think about. You could take glutathione, it's just a supplement. It's helpful. It's an antioxidant. You can do a lot of like foods that are like berries and pomegranate seeds. Those are really helpful for like the flavonoids and polyphenols that help to recover these guys. You could take something called alpha lipoic acid, ALA, and alpha lipoic acid can really help with the nerves and nerve like damage. You could take B12. Nerves love B12. So those are things to think about. Keep going. If you need support, reach out. I think that if you have lost 80 pounds and you're really doing well, I mean, you could level up and do a ketogenic diet for a little while if you could handle digestion of fat. That's the tricky part about ketogenic diet. It's kind of a third fat, it's like a third like proteins. And, you have to kind of figure that out. You could just literally chat onto ChatGPT and get kind of a ketogenic meal plan. That might be good for you. And you take B12, great. And B12 shots. Yeah, B12 shots are great. If you have somebody around you that's doing B12 shots, I don't know, sometimes naturopaths will do it. Some of these like IV places will do it. I don't know where you live, but I mean, in California, we've got a few places where it's like, you can come in for an IV, you can come in for a B12 happy hour, things like that. If you could always like look it up, B12 shots near you. So yeah, good call. That 10 milliliters of B12, yeah, perfect. And that might be helpful. Now, the other thing you could think about is maybe you get on some alpha lipoic acid. Maybe you get on some berberine. Berberine is really helpful in stabilizing your blood sugar. I can do, you take the B12 medication. Okay, you could go look for B12 shots. That could be helpful. That might really get it in a little bit faster. But also, there's a cool product by Apex called, what's it called? Oh my goodness. It's a blood sugar balancing. I'm going to have to look it up because I need to find out. It's a great supplement that helps you balance your blood sugar, and it's got rose hips in it. It's got alpha lipoic acid in it, and it's got berberine in it. And I'm actually going to look it up because I can't remember the name of it, and I want to tell you Apex. It's a really great product. Alpha lipoic acid is really awesome in trying to calm down like the inflammation in the tissues, really helps you recover with your tissues and your nerves. So I really like it a lot. Berberine. So are you guys on berberine? Anybody taking berberine? Oh, it's called glycoberine MX. Glycoberine MX. And it's got berberine, it's got burdock extract, root, alpha lipoic acid, and rose hips. So it's just kind of really helps to keep your blood sugar steady. Kind of figuring out like how to keep your blood sugar steady, right? And because especially if you're insulin resistant and your insulin like pops up because it's just so used to popping up, we need to kind of get that to calm down. So we want to think about how to support your body a little bit better, but we want to make sure that we're putting in the right food, right? Because we don't want to just put in the wrong food and then take a supplement to try to fix that. It's tough. So a lot of people with high blood sugar though are coming up with high CRP and high ESR. Those are inflammation markers. Now we want to figure out if you have high inflammation markers, why? A lot of my patients with autoimmunity will have their immune system is attacking like their joints or their thyroid, and it's creating a lot of inflammation. So we want to figure out how do we calm that down? First thing I want all of you guys to do, whether you have autoimmunity or not, I want you to be taking vitamin D. So I run a lot of blood work on all my patients, and nobody has enough vitamin D unless they're taking it. So I like to get 5,000 IUs of vitamin D in people. So, I mean, I really would like you to get that going so that you can feel like you're getting enough and that you are going into the flu season feeling like you're supported, because that's really coming. I mean, everyone seems to be getting the flu, COVID, RSV. Some weird stuff is coming through. I mean, it just feels like all my patients are coming in like they've got a cough, they got a sniffle, something, and I don't know. How do you find out about B12? I'm not sure. If you want to find out about where to get like B12 shots, look up where you are. I don't know where you live, but look up where you are. Look up, B12 injections. Look up mobile IVs, things like that, and see who's around you. Most of the big cities will have it. If you can't find it, look for a naturopath. And so, yeah, that'll be great. Automations. I'm not sure what that is. Tell me more, Roberta. So anyway, we've got all sorts of people coming in with sicknesses. Now, when you get sick, like let's say you get COVID, and then all of a sudden you wind up with another bacteria or another infection on top of it. Have you guys experienced that? Like it's like people are getting COVID and then they're getting bronchitis, or they're getting COVID and they're getting pneumonia, or their immune system is really focused on COVID. And so then an Epstein-Barr virus can reactivate, or a herpes virus can reactivate, right? So your immune system is working really hard to kind of stabilize and tamp down all these viruses, because when we have a virus, it comes in and a lot of them like hang out, like let's say the chicken pox, right? Let's talk about that one. It got into a nerve root somewhere when you're a kid. And then when you run down, your immune system runs down, you can get shingles fired up, right? That's a virus that's hanging out in a ganglionic nerve root, hanging out, waiting for your immune system to go down so that it can fire up. So this is why a lot of my older patients wind up getting shingles. And what are we going to do about that? Right? How do we support the body? Some of them will take lysine on the regular, making sure your vitamin D is, if you're looking at your vitamin D, I want your vitamin D to be above 75. I want it to be between 75 and 100. And the normal range for vitamin D is 30 to 100. So if you're hanging out at 30, it's not therapeutic at all. I mean, you're there. It's almost like, you're like almost deficient, right? So let's really make sure that your vitamin D is up and where we want it to be. Okay. So vitamin D, are you guys, and then managing your blood sugar is really important. And I don't know if any of y'all are like in the perimenopausal, menopausal stage. If you're women, the estrogen dropping out really triggers your body to be more inflamed, more dried out. It can really trigger your immune system to act differently. A lot of people that I know my patients are coming in, they're like, I had a baby and it triggered autoimmunity. I went through perimenopause and it triggered autoimmunity. So these are important things for us to know, that hormone shifts can really change things. Men, if your testosterone levels are too low, like let's get to the bottom of that. A lot of times I'll see men's testosterone being really low because they have generalized inflammation. Now, the testicles make testosterone. And so if you have inflammation like high blood sugar and it creates inflammation, that area is just really sensitive to inflammation and it won't make testosterone. So when I see low testosterone men, I'm thinking, what's happening with their blood sugar, right? So, and let's talk about, we've got some belly fat, right? So women and their belly fat, it converts estrogen into testosterone. This is why we get PCOS. This is why we get hair on our chin and hair on our chest and things like that. And we are not ovulating, right? Men, their belly fat converts testosterone into estrogen. Now, then they get the man boobs and they get really weepy and they are really emotional and they aren't motivated. They're super tired and they're not motivated because their testosterone is too low. So I don't know if that's something that any of you have been experiencing, but it's kind of tricky, right? We've got to figure out, how are we going to burn off this belly fat, right? Some of my patients will get on a ketogenic diet. Some people will be intermittent fasting. My friend Mindy, who's making Age Like a Girl, she wrote a book called Fast Like a Girl. And that's really helpful strategies for women on how to fast and how to get your weight down and your blood sugar under control. So not being afraid of fasting, if that's something that is, it's just a therapeutic tool we can use. Our bodies need to be nimble. Our bodies need to be flexible. We need to be able to learn how to use glucose as fuel. And if we don't eat for a while, our body needs to learn how to use ketones as fuel, right? And that's coming from our fat. We're learning, teach your body how to burn fat as fuel, but that requires fasting, right? So we need to not be afraid of fasting if we can do that. GLP-1s, those are very interesting, right? So GLP-1 is a hormone, and really it's been very interesting. I have some of my patients who are doing like microdosing of GLP-1s. It actually is really turning off the food noise and the cravings. And that's been a really, really important step on getting people to regain control of their hunger and what they're eating, and being able to moderate their food. So I'd say, we have a little bit of a tricky, when you do GLP-1s for a long period of time, it can cause constipation, which is tough. It can cause you to lose muscle and bone and fat at the same time. So I'd say be careful and use the lowest dose that you might need. If you need that to really close down, stop all that food noise, use it. Use it. It's a tool, right? Now, I don't want you to use it and just lean on that and not change your diet. And I do want you to make sure you're eating so much protein, because we have to really be careful about our muscle density, and you have to have a lot of protein. So really, women, I want them to eat minimum of 100 grams of protein a day. I really would like you to eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is a lot, right? So you have to really, really focus on your protein game. So you need to almost eat protein like it's your job. Like, I have to eat protein, right? So thinking about doing that type of stuff is really helpful. And it's funny, a couple of my patients have done higher doses of GLP-1s, and then they taper it down into kind of almost like a microdose, and seems to be working. So what's interesting is I have a rheumatoid arthritis patient right now that got on a GLP-1, and her hands are so less inflamed right now. And so that tells me a couple things. Her blood sugar is spiking too much, probably driving some of this inflammation in her hands. But also, she's lost about 10 or 15 pounds now. And your fat on your belly creates inflammation all on its own. It's like this organ all by itself. It kind of is just like this little rogue organ, creates a bunch of inflammation, and it just dumps it in your bloodstream. So you don't even have to be eating inflammatory foods. You can just have a belly fat will create inflammation, right? What about if you have lupus nephritis? Okay, so yes, you have to be, if you have lupus nephritis, we're being very careful about your kidneys, right? So I want you to make sure that you're doing some things to manage your immune system, being on vitamin D. I'd love for you to be on some glutathione. Glutathione is a really good immune system modulator. It helps calm the immune system down. Trying to figure out, lupus, we want to think about, there's been a big correlation with lupus and Epstein-Barr. So do you feel like you have an active virus going on? Do you feel like you have mono? Do you feel like you get swollen lymph nodes? Do you feel like you're tired? Do you feel like you get periodic fevers? Those are things to think about too. Now, if you have nephritis, they don't want you to go crazy on protein, right? So you have to kind of walk that thin line. I'd say protein with every meal, but I wouldn't go more than a gram of protein per pound of body weight. That would be excessive. Any nephritis doctor, anybody who's working with kidneys, is going to be like, stop eating the protein. But there is a good, safe amount of protein. There's a gray zone, right? There's a middle ground in here somewhere that we have to hit. So it makes it a little trickier. But you have to eat protein at every meal to keep your blood sugar steady. Okay. So NAC for mold, toxicity, GERD, leaky gut, brain fog, fatigue, and SIBO. Okay. So NAC, N-acetylcysteine, it's if you take it, it converts into glutathione, which is really helpful as an antioxidant in our body. So I love that. I love NAC. It's great. Now, NAC is like a biofilm buster, right? So when you have mold in your body, or even like candida or even bacteria, and you take a bunch of NAC, it's almost like it breaks this little shield, and then it liberates the mold, and it liberates the toxicity, it liberates things. So you have to be ready to kind of mop that up, right? And be able to bind that up and take that out. I need you pooping. I need you drinking a lot of water. I need you probably taking a bit of a binder. Now, you could take a little bit of charcoal each day. You could take psyllium husks. You could take a little bit of fiber, like a little Metamucil or anything like that, to bind up and take that stuff out. I love a supplement called GI Detox. It's got a few different things, humic acid, fulvic acid. There's a lot of things that are like binders. It doesn't have to be fancy. Bentonite clay. There's a lot of binders, but I would think about, if you're taking a high level of NAC or a consistent level of NAC, know that you are mobilizing things. So it's a step, right? I'm not sure exactly what you're dealing with. It seems like you have a lot of things going on, but you could definitely do that. Just I would almost take it with a GI detox and make sure that you are going to the bathroom each day. And you started a GLP-1 on Monday. Okay, see how you do, right? See how you feel. So I just want to make sure that you are pooping too. It's a lot of pooping talk here, because GLP-1s can make you constipated. So if you need to take some magnesium citrate at night, if you need to take some Triphala, that gets your intestines moving. You can take magnesium oxide. There's a lot of like things to keep your motility going. Artichoke, ginger, those help to keep your intestines moving. So those are things to think about. What is stage 3 kidney issue? Okay, so that just means that you've got some damage in your kidneys and you want to be really careful about damaging it further. Sometimes it can be damaged from lupus. Sometimes it can be damaged from diabetes, right? So I'm not sure why it would be getting damaged, but I would take some glutathione. It's very protective of the kidney and really get into the bottom. If you have blood sugar spikes, we have to stabilize you out. We have to get you rolling and we have to get you not spiking. So if you've got some kidney disease, I would almost just like get a blood sugar monitor, like a Lingo or a Stello on the back of your arm and really watch your blood sugar and make sure it's rolling and not letting it spike too much and getting your hemoglobin A1C down and your insulin down. That's really helpful to protect your kidneys. You would take in NAC and maybe glutathione. Cool, great. Winta, come on over. I've got on my, I think on my bio, I've got like a link tree. And if you wanted to pop in and you have a conversation with me, that's fine. There's a little tab on there that you could pop in like a 30-minute consult or something like that. So if you felt like tossing me your labs and having me kind of dig stuff out for you, that's totally fine. So what can you take to bring down your lupus numbers? Okay, so I want you to do vitamin D, 5,000 IUs, maybe liquid if you're absorbing it. I need your vitamin D to be above 75. Okay, so do what you need to do to get that up. Some people have to take 10,000 IUs. I want you to take glutathione. That's good. I also, so let me just tell you, like at Christmas, fingers crossed, by New Year's, I have an autoimmune course coming out that's like a real inexpensive self-paced course. And then you can join like my autoimmune support group on Fridays. And there's a whole pile of resources I'm piling in there. Labs you should get. What do those labs mean? Supplement links, everything you need to know, 13 different modules about 13 different topics about calming down your autoimmunity. So that's coming out soon. I'll let you know. On that link tree, there's a little wait list for that if you want to pop on there in my bio. So that's coming. And then you can pop on Fridays and we can have a conversation with whoever's there and have an autoimmune support group if that's helpful. Other thing you want to think about, is it Soretta? So it's, I really want you to think about maybe adding a little bit of black seed oil. Black seed oil, you can get it in capsules, maybe doing like 1,000 milligrams a day, 500 in the morning and 500 in the afternoon. It's a really good immune system modulator, and it really is calming down the immune system on the attack. There's a lot of strategies. I would kind of need to look at your blood work to kind of figure out like what it is your issue might be. Make sure your blood sugar is super steady. Make sure you're eating plenty of protein at every meal and that you're not spiking too much. Make sure you're sleeping. Make sure you're exercising some each day. Make sure, all these nice things that you have to try to like keep your body in balance, right? Make sure that you're, you're kind of in balanced, and you're not like, I'm freaking out, I'm not getting any sleep. That's going to drive your immune system to go a little bit crazy. So what's better, NAC or glutathione? So, oops, I missed somebody. Hold on. These kind of are kind of popping across. I'll try to get to everybody. So NAC is a precursor for glutathione. So you'll convert it. Now, if you are getting glutathione and you're getting capsules, I need you to get AC glutathione. It's the easiest one to absorb. Or the liquid ones are really good. Liquid ones from Quicksilver, Apex, and Symbiotica. Those guys are doing a really good job of doing some like goo or liquid ones that are really absorbent. So those are helpful. If it's just straight glutathione and it's a capsule, it's hard for us to absorb. So if that's all you can get, I'd rather you get NAC. If you can get a hold of a liquid, do it. It's helpful. Dense fine speckled, 1 in 320. Okay, here's the interesting thing about dense fine speckled. It's a different little animal, and it doesn't usually drive towards something like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's. It doesn't usually drive for that. Dense fine speckled makes me think about maybe you have a viral trigger, maybe you have an allergy happening. Did you have a big virus happening? Did you get Epstein-Barr? Did this start with COVID? Do you have your blood sugar really spiking? It usually tells me there's something else triggering this. I mean, if you had a really big food allergy, or if you had celiac or something like that, it can really drive densifying speckled. So the good news about densifying speckled is it doesn't usually go to lupus or anything dangerous. But the bad news about densifying speckled is it's causing you to joint pain and such, and it's some other trigger. So we're thinking blood sugar, we're thinking allergies, we're thinking viruses. It's kind of I can't give you all more specific about looking at it, but I mean, think about starting to get on some vitamin D, think about glutathione. Those are the things I would think about doing first. RA couldn't find anything. The panel shows nothing and the x-rays are good. Okay, so, but your joints hurt. Okay, so it's good that you don't have destruction. It's good that you don't have full-blown RA. Amazing, but you need some strategies to help figure out like what is, the bio, where's the bio on the link tree? On my bio, like go to my TikTok, and click on my, like my face, my site, and it'll show this little link tree on there, or just send me a DM. Just send me a DM if it's easier. I can just give you the link. Okay, so you don't have RA, your x-rays are normal. Amazing. Love that, but you're in pain. Okay, we're going to take that as a win. It means that you're in the gray zone somewhere, right? You're loading. It's almost like you're loading autoimmunity and you haven't fully loaded it yet. Amazing. Let's catch you there, right? So I want you to think about, I would get off of gluten and I would get off of dairy. Let me tell you why. So gluten and dairy are proteins that when you break down their protein structure, their base protein structure, it has this thing called molecular mimicry to our own tissue. So our own tissue and the proteins of gluten and dairy are so similar, they call it molecular mimicry, that your immune system is like, I see gluten and dairy and I hate that, so I'm going to go ahead and attack my own tissue too. So it just ramps up an attack. You could even get on an autoimmune paleo diet for just a little while. Takes out nightshades, it takes out the grains, it takes out dairy, it takes out eggs, it takes out a bunch of stuff. It's really just meats and vegetables for a little while. And then maybe you slowly add foods in, like, okay, how do you feel on autoimmune paleo? Does it make your joints feel better? Great, it usually does. And then maybe you add tomatoes, and then you add peppers, and you add eggplant. Those are nightshades. Then maybe you add some grains, right? Things like that. So that can be really helpful. Okay, sorry. I was just logging out. My stream wanted to log out. Okay, and so maybe you add, I wouldn't add gluten and dairy back in. Maybe you add eggs back in. How does that make you feel? This is just as diagnostic as doing a very expensive food allergy panel. So it's the gold standard, really. Take some foods away, reintroduce some foods, because there's almost always a food trigger, okay? I hope that helps. I am happy to help you, but this is something I do every day, so. And we've got diagnosed with lupus and Sjogren's. My lungs have fluid and I can't get rid of it. Okay. So, all right. So I need you to be on vitamin D. I would get on 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, but I would also get on some vitamin A, like 5,000 IUs of vitamin A a day. You can even get an AD combo. If you need a link, let me know. I can send you a link. Just send me your email. I want to, the insides of your lungs, the insides of your sinuses, the insides of your throat, those all have something called secretory IgA, and it protects you from attack, from viruses, from bacteria, from your own immune system, from lupus attacking you, okay? So vitamin A can kind of create like a little bit of a shield and a protective shield for you. So I want you to get on vitamin A and vitamin D. And I'd like you to get on glutathione. You can get on glutathione. That's super helpful for lupus, okay? Yeah, so swollen ankles, joints are locking. Yep, started 6 months ago. Okay, what happened 6 months ago or right before that? Did you get COVID? Did you get the flu? Did you get sick? Did you get food poisoning? We got to figure out what that is. Oh, I see Gwen on here, my lupus chick. Hey, if you guys haven't hopped on, followed Lupus Chick, follow Lupus Chick. That's my friend Gwen. She's killing it, giving you a lot of resources. All of you guys that are talking about lupus, follow Lupus Chick, CHICK. Follow her. She's amazing. Okay, ANA positive on an anti-inflammatory diet, working with my nutritionist. Amazing. So I want you to think about looking up an autoimmune paleo diet and maybe go one step further and really pull out any kind of food triggers that could be possible. Maybe hang on that for a couple weeks. You don't have to do it forever. And then start reintroducing some different kind of foods and just see if you get a trigger. If you get a trigger, pull off of that, right? Then you know it's a really good tool. What do you think about, hold on a second, taking 2 biologics at once? It's fine. Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to get your immune system to kind of chill out, right? Totally fine. So yeah, do it. And also, we're gonna we don't want to like take you off of medications. We want to like braid in functional medicine strategies too, right? So all of this stuff I'm telling you works really well with medications, and it can help your medications to work better. So vitamin D is amazing, vitamin A amazing, glutathione amazing. I was telling somebody about black seed oil. Oh my gosh, Gwen and I had a really funny experience. I have an autoimmune support group on Fridays, and I'm talking to a gal who's been having brain fog forever. And she's doing one of those like condensed RN programs, and she's not sleeping, and she's got all these autoimmune things, and she's just going crazy. Her diet's great, but she can't sleep, all these things. So she says, I just tossed myself on black seed oil just to see. She's like, listen, I feel like the fog has lifted. This black seed oil is magic. So I'll tell you, I said, Gwen, you got to go get some. So yeah, this black seed oil, look it up sometime. Just look up black seed oil benefits and you'll be like, what? It seems like it cures everything in the world. It's ridiculous and also pretty magical herb. So I am on the board for black seed oil. So Hashimoto's, your eyes have been hurting. Okay. I wonder, do they feel like they're dry? I wonder if you feel like they're dry. Sometimes you can have Sjogren's along with Hashimoto's, right? And that might be that you have dry eyes, you might have dry mouth. It's just something to kind of consider. If you do, we need to think about, like little dry eye drops. We need to think about vitamin A is super helpful. Hashimoto's, we need to think about figuring out your food triggers. Gluten and dairy are number 1 and number 2. Top 5 are gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and eggs. Doesn't mean they're all there. They're not all there for everybody, but just things to kind of consider, right? So, and then nightshades can be really big for people with rheumatoid arthritis. Hashimoto's, I want you to be on 200 micrograms of selenium every day. It's a mineral, selenium. You can also eat 2 Brazil nuts every day. That usually has about 200 milligrams of selenium, super helpful. So that's going to be, we want when your thyroid is getting destroyed, it releases this thing called thyroid peroxidase. And that TPO, thyroid peroxidase, it can make you feel really bad. It can make you feel dizzy. It can make you feel a little weird and disoriented. So yeah, so try vitamin A, get on your glutathione, try some black seed oil if you want. Figure out your food issues. Figure out what foods you're triggering, what are triggering you. You have high B12. No doctors. Oh, that's interesting. Wonder why you have high B12. So, I mean, you're probably a really good absorber of B12, right? So you probably don't need to take a B vitamin. You don't need to take a B12. B12 is water soluble. I wouldn't call it a problem. I would call it interesting. I would say, okay, don't take a lot of Bs because you might just be a super absorber of Bs from like food. That's okay. I mean, really, I'd rather you be an overabsorber than an underabsorber. Hey, Daphne, send me a DM and say, this is my name, this is my email, this is the link I want. Just tell me and I'll pop right on Fullscript and send you a link. Okay. You have liver hemangiomas on your liver developed during your 4th pregnancy. Can you shrink them? That's a really hard question. I'm trying to figure out what I would do there. You're not nursing, you're not pregnant right now. If you're not nursing and pregnant right now, I'd probably give your liver some support. Like I would get on a supplement that had some milk thistle and had some dandelion root. That's really nourishing on the liver. Has some beet in it maybe? Why not, right? Let's give your liver just some nice little lovely support and see what it does. I don't know that it's going to cause you a problem in the future, but it's something that you kind of go, well, maybe that's just something that, need a little bit of TLC, right? Yeah, you know what, Erica, it's really hard to try to figure this stuff out, right? This is why I've made this autoimmune shift program. It's going to, fingers crossed, be ready by Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring it to me. I'm building it right now so that you can watch 13 different modules of just information and then pop into my autoimmune support group. And then there on that platform, I have a ton of resources of like things to consider and supplements that help and labs you should get done and what your labs mean and diets that work best and just so many resources on there that it can help give you a lot of guidance. And then you can pop in the autoimmune support group and ask all the questions. I also help you read blood work because sometimes it's just you might need to get some other test done. Like maybe you need to get a leaky gut panel done. I mean, I don't know. It's possible. There's a lot of people with leaky gut and it causes a lot of problems, causes a lot of joint pain, and it can actually trigger autoimmunity. So it's just a specific test that your doctor wouldn't run, but we can certainly run that if you needed that. Okay. Yeah, the pain is, yeah. Okay. So you have some inflammation going on. You have something going on with your joints, Erica. We've got to figure it out. You know what I would probably do with you first is I would probably do a leaky gut panel. There's a leaky gut panel through a company called Cyrex. It's a blood test. If you have leaky gut, those gut lining proteins get into your bloodstream and you can pick them up. So I just test for that and see if that's there. Sometimes you can have overgrowth of a bad bacteria, or you can get like a bacterial infection in your gut, or you can get food poisoning or something, and that can cause a really severe leaky gut. That causes a lot of problems with autoimmunity and inflammation. So we might have to test a little further. You might need a little bit more assistance than just the basics, because if you're doing the basics and it doesn't work, we got to figure this out. Okay. So you've been struggling with SIBO for months. The antibiotics didn't work. Okay. So here's what I would think about. SIBO. If you might need, do you have Hashimoto's? Do you have acid level issues in your stomach? Here's what I would do, just as a crapshoot. I don't really know what's going on for sure, but oftentimes patients are not digesting and breaking down their food properly, and then it's feeding the bad bacteria. So I would think about getting on like some hydrochloric acid with your meals, just with every meal, like a little 500 milligram hydrochloric acid or betaine hydrochloride to break down the foods more efficiently, and then get on a little low FODMAP diet for a little while and see if you can get it under control. You might just be not breaking down the food well, and then you're feeding those bad guys, possibly. Let me know. You might also have leaky gut. It's tricky. Oh yeah, Erica, you can join. You know what? There's a link on my bio that says Linktree, and click. You have to copy paste it. It's weird how TikTok, you can't really go onto links and make them work. Just copy and paste it. There's a Linktree. It says Dr. Darla Booth, and there's a wait list for my autoimmune shift program. And then you can get told right away when it's available. It's being built right now. And I'm going crazy because I want it to be done on November 1st. And it's not yet. So they're like, oh my God, we just had to fix this landing page and that landing page. And I'm just like going a little crazy. Anyway, so yes, you can join. You can hop on there and put your info, your email, and then we'll just let you know when it's ready. So it's going to be so fun to kind of work with so many people and figure out all the things, and we can all work together. And I want to create a really good community of people who all have autoimmunity, and we can share all of our wins and share what's working, and we can all get better together. Okay. I have an autoimmune marker. My daughter has an autoimmune marker. I'm super passionate about autoimmunity. Like, we got to turn it down. So, and there's a lot of things that we can do to calm it down. You think leaky gut, not sure. What are the symptoms? Bloating, joint pain, brain fog. Sometimes it's not as much gut pain. It's like body pain. It's exhaustion. Sometimes it happens after an infection. Yeah. And if you have low acid levels, I want you to do hydrochloric acid with meals. So yeah. Okay. So wait till we're going to have to check you probably for leaky gut at some point. Just DM me, tell me, and I can send you a link to get the test done. It's about $220, I think, to run. The gold standard leaky gut panel. It's amazing. I'll just send you a link. You could go locally and get it done. And then we can just know, right? You have to just kind of find out some of these things because it's hard to guess, right? If you have low acid levels, we have to give yourself hydrochloric acid at meals. Okay. So, because especially when you're eating protein, if you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, you're eating protein and you're not breaking it down. And then you feel like you just can't eat meat. And then that's because you don't have enough acid. The other weird symptom is when you look at the toilet, you look like you have skid marks, or things are just really messy and not clean. And you're like, God, this is such a mess. It's because you didn't break it down with your hydrochloric acid. So we got to add hydrochloric acid if you have that symptom. I'm telling you, so many weird symptoms, right? Tissue issues. Roberta, what do you think with tissue issues? You've got like maybe broken tissue or not healing or something like that. I'm always looking at vitamin A for that and vitamin D. Okay, thyroid removed, on thyroid hormones. Why is your hair thinning? Look at your blood sugar. It could be your blood sugar. If your blood sugar is spiking or crashing, you have inconsistent fuel to your hair and your hair just can't grow because it doesn't have good fuel. So think about maybe getting a continuous glucose monitor on the back of your arm and it pops onto an app, Lingo or Stello. Amazing. You're gonna go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm spiking myself so much, which is exactly what I said. Crazy. I thought I was eating great. And I was like, nope, spiking my blood sugar all day. So too much blood sugar creates a little inflammation, creates inflammation at the follicles. And so that's another reason why. Also, blood flow, making sure you're exercising and moving your body a little bit and getting blood flow. Those hair follicles need oxygen. Hydrochloric acid. Yes. So if you're going to get a supplement to increase the acid levels in your stomach, it's called HCl or hydrochloric acid, or it can be called betaine HCl, Betaine. It's all of that is the same thing. So if you're going to get a digestive support, don't just get like digestive enzymes. I see a lot of people grab digestive enzymes. It needs to have hydrochloric acid and enzymes, or just hydrochloric acid alone. Okay. What do I think about parasites and autoimmune disorders? That's a really interesting one. So if I have somebody their immune system is calm and feeling good, but they have an autoimmune marker, and I see that I have a parasite, I'm not killing it because the immune system is really distracted with that parasite managing it, and it's killing the parasite. It's working on this parasite versus attacking you. Worst thing you can do is kill all these parasites, and then your immune system's like, listen, I don't have anything to do. I'm just going to attack you. So it's happened to me with my patients, and I've regretted killing parasites before. So I think it depends. If you feel like you're in an autoimmune flare and we do like say a GI map test and it looks like you have parasites, we're killing it. Let's just get to the bottom of that. But when you get steady and stable and you're feeling better, we leave it alone, right? It's tricky. There are people with autoimmunity that will actually give themselves a parasite. They'll drink this thing called Helminths, and it's a parasite, wild. And it calms their autoimmunity down. Weird stuff. But also, I mean, I don't know that I would want to give myself a parasite, but listen, desperate times, right? I'm not judging anybody. So swollen feet and ankles. Take a look at your blood sugar. How's your blood sugar doing? Is your blood sugar spiking? Oh, yeah, okay. Your blood sugar was spiking. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everybody. So you've been losing a lot of weight. So I want you to walk some, not to exhaustion. I want you to walk to the point where you feel, oh, okay, I'm really tired, go home. Don't overdo it, okay? But I want you to keep your blood sugar steady. I want you to keep your blood sugar low, and that will slowly start to help. When you have too much sugar in your tissues, it's like there's sugar in your feet, literally. And your body goes, listen, I need to like dilute that a little bit. So I'm going to add fluid. And so now you have fluid and sugar in your feet. So we need to be walking that off. We need to be lowering your overall blood sugar. And we need to if we can get your blood sugar under control and your insulin down, that swelling will go away. That's a really good marker that your insulin and your blood sugar is under control, that you don't have any more swelling. Okay. Oh, thank you, Winta. I'm so glad. Is it Winta? I have another patient with Winta. It's Winta, and I love that name. It's really cute. Or is it Winta? I'm not sure. I'm used to saying Winta. But thank you so much. I'm glad that you popped on. I try to really cover a lot of bases because you just don't ever know what's going on with people, right? Yeah. So Roberta, I think it's probably your blood sugar is probably a little bit high still. And I'm super happy that you popped on. So there's a lot of things to consider, right? I mean, this is the tricky part about autoimmunity is that we don't know what one person's trigger is versus another person's trigger. Oh, Winta. Okay, good. I'm glad I knew. Yeah. It's a beautiful name. I love it. So we don't know what your trigger is. Your trigger and a person with the exact same diagnosis is going to have a different trigger. Right? So we have to look at your blood work, your symptoms. This is what's tricky about like just following what people on Instagram say about, this is what you do to cure autoimmunity. No, you can't generalize it, right? So you have to really look at the person in front of you and say, you have a blood sugar issue. You got exposed to Epstein-Barr. You have leaky gut. Like, I mean, you have a gluten dairy allergy. You know, like these are all the things that like not everybody's the same. So that's why it's hard to kind of like give general advice because we don't know. So this is what I'm working on, is getting everybody to like watch these 13 videos I made. I made all these videos just trying to cover all the basic bases, right? So that you can go through that and then pop into my autoimmune support group and then have all the resources there for you and ways to get testing done and ways to get supplements and links to the best supplements and trying to figure out like what it is for you, right? And then being in an autoimmune support group so that you can like have all these other people and we can all work together, right? Just like a gal that is on my autoimmune support group, and Gwen and I were on this program. She was like, black seed oil is working. And then Gwen's like, I'm going to go get black seed oil. So we're all learning together, right? Because we don't know everything, but we do know a lot of things. Functional medicine has a really, really good handle on autoimmunity. And that's just, traditional medication people. Hold on, I just had to do a little thing. Traditional medical doctors do their best, right? They're working on biologics, so working on medication, but they send their patients to me so I can help them kind of bridge the gap and braid some things together. Okay. There is a test for leaky gut. I'm gonna have to pop off in about 5 minutes, just getting it, so there's a test for leaky gut. I don't like the stool test for leaky gut because let's say you ate a bunch of fiber one day and you had some scratching in your intestines, it might show a little bit of like a zonulin high, so it depends on your diet. I like to do a blood test. It's through a company called Cyrex, Cyrex. I can always send you a link if you want to. It's magic that Fullscript and Rupa companies that work with supplements and work with labs. I'm in California, but I can send a link to anybody anywhere in the US. So it's made my job so much easier. So that's a company that does a blood test and they look for occludin, zonulin, this other thing called actomycin. They look for LPS, which is called lipopolysaccharides. These are all leaky gut markers. And you have to do all of them to really see, like, it's like light to medium to severe, depending on what shows up. And if that's happening, and if it's severe, we just stop and do 2 or 3 actions to just try to heal the leaky gut. It's really important. Oftentimes people, especially with COVID, people had leaky gut and they had a leaky blood-brain barrier. I mean, it broke together, right? There's a blood-brain barrier in your brain. It's like your blood vessels are kind of like wrapped in this little special Kevlar. It's protective. And so it broke, and then the leaky gut broke. And then they had brain fog and they have this long COVID, and it's just a hot dumpster fire. So anyway, we learned a lot going through COVID and what viruses do. And I think it was brought us a lot of like information about, oh yeah, we should consider Epstein-Barr and fungus and candida and overgrowth and all the things, right? Anyway, so if you're in Texas and you want to connect with me, either send me a DM or look on my little bio, on my TikTok bio. Are you on TikTok? I have YouTube going and I have Facebook and all that going. So if you're on TikTok, send me a DM, or on my bio, it says there's a Linktree link. Just click on that or copy and paste it. And then there's a consultation button. There's a wait list for the shift. The shift is the autoimmune shift. That's my program that I'm calling it the shift, because I want people to understand how to shift their life one little habit at a time so that we can get the autoimmunity to calm down. Okay. So pop on if you need some help. If you need some help, DM me. I'm happy to connect with you and support you guys. I can't wait for my program to be ready. I'm going crazy. Can't wait for it to start. So it should be between Christmas and New Year. We should be launching that. Okay. So you guys take good care, and I can't wait to see you next. And thanks for hopping on. And we'll talk soon. Bye, Gwen.